The sound of my wife's laughter drifting from the kitchen should have warmed my heart. Instead, it made my blood run cold because I recognized the other voice joining her, my brother-in-law Derek, the man who'd been systematically destroying my life for the past 6 months. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. I'm Jack Morrison, 38 years old, owner of Morrison HVAC Services. Used to think I had it all figured out. Decent business, loving wife Sarah, nice house in Millbrook Falls. That was before Derek moved back to town with his trust fund attitude and his Harvard MBA, acting like he owned the place. Jack's just not ambitious enough for you, Sarah. Derek's voice carried clearly as I stood in my own hallway, still holding my toolbox from the Henderson job. You could do so much better than some blue-collar guy who smells like furnace dust. My wife's response hit harder than any punch I'd taken in my amateur boxing days. I know, Derek. Sometimes I wonder what I was thinking. 6 months. That's how long Derek had been back in Millbrook Falls, and that's how long my marriage had been falling apart. The guy waltzed back from Boston after his startup failed, moving into his parents' old house like some conquering hero. Within weeks, he was at every family dinner, every social gathering, poisoning everyone against me with his smooth talk and condescending smiles. "Sarah, honey, I'm home," I called out, giving them a chance to compose themselves. The kitchen went silent for a moment before Sarah appeared in the doorway, her blonde hair perfectly styled even though she'd been home all day. "Oh, hi, Jack." Derek stopped by to discuss some investment opportunities. Derek emerged behind her, all 6'2" of him in his expensive polo shirt and khakis. "Jack, good to see you, buddy. We were just talking about financial planning. You know, thinking ahead, building wealth instead of just maintaining it." The condescension dripped from every word. This was Derek's specialty, insulting you while pretending to help. "That's nice," I said, setting down my toolbox. "What kind of investments?" "Well, Sarah mentioned your business has been doing well. I was thinking she could diversify, maybe put some money into real estate development. There's this great opportunity in Portland." "With whose money?" I interrupted. Derek's smile faltered for just a second. "Well, I assumed you'd want Sarah to have some financial independence, unless you're one of those controlling husbands who keeps his wife dependent." There it was. The trap he always set. Disagree with him, and you're controlling. Agree, and you're letting him manipulate your finances. Sarah jumped in. "Derek's just trying to help, Jack. He has experience with these things." "Right. Like his successful startup experience?" The temperature in the room dropped 10 degrees. Derek's face hardened. "That's unfair, Jack. Market conditions didn't make you blow through $2 million in 18 months. I'd done my research after Derek started sniffing around our finances. His innovative marketing platform had been a disaster, burning through investor money on fancy offices and team-building retreats while producing nothing of value. "I think you should leave," I said quietly. Derek looked at Sarah, not me. "Sarah, I'll call you tomorrow about those properties." After he left, Sarah turned on me. "That was incredibly rude, Jack. He's family. He's trying to get his hands on our money, Sarah. Can't you see that? All I see is my husband being jealous of someone more successful." "Successful? He's broke, Sarah. His company failed, his investors are suing him, and now he's back in his childhood bedroom trying to scam money from his sister-in-law." But Sarah had already walked away. That night marked the beginning of the end. Derek's poison had already spread too far. Sarah started spending more time with him, going to investment seminars and networking events that somehow never included me. Worse, Derek began targeting my friendships. He joined our weekly poker game, charming my buddies Mike and Tony with stories about his Boston connections. He started showing up at Murphy's bar when he knew I'd be there, buying rounds and making jokes at my expense. "Jack's a good guy. he'd say with that practiced smile. But he's got no vision. Still thinks small town small, you know? The guys laughed along, not realizing they were being played. 3 weeks later, Mike called to tell me the poker game was moving to Derek's house. Nothing personal, Jack, but Derek's got that big screen TV and he's been providing better snacks. Plus, his stories about the startup world are pretty interesting. Mike, the guy's a fraud. He's manipulating all of you. Come on, man, don't be paranoid. Derek's actually pretty cool once you get to know him. Tony was next. We'd been friends since high school, worked construction together before I started my HVAC business. But Derek got to him too, offering him a consulting position that never materialized while slowly turning him against me. Derek says you've been spreading lies about his business. Tony confronted me at Murphy's one Thursday night. That's not cool, Jack. I'm telling you the truth. Look up his company online. Check the business journals. He lost millions. Maybe you're just jealous that he's trying to help Sarah improve herself. The betrayal stung. These were guys I'd known for 20 years, and Derek had turned them against me in a matter of weeks. But the final straw came on a Friday evening in October. I'd been working late on a commercial job and decided to stop by Murphy's for a beer. The moment I walked in, I knew something was wrong. The usual crowd was there, Mike, Tony, Derek, and a few other regulars, but they all went quiet when they saw me. Derek was holding court at our usual table, and he looked up with that smug smile. Jack, perfect timing. We were just talking about you. I should have left. Should have turned around and walked out. Instead, I moved closer. Tony here was telling us about your little outburst last week, Derek continued. Getting all worked up over nothing. Sarah's worried about you, you know. Says you've been acting paranoid lately. The whole bar was listening now. These were my neighbors, my customers, people I'd known my entire life. Maybe you should mind your own business, Derek. Sarah is my business. She's family. And when I see her husband losing it, spreading conspiracy theories about me, I have to step in. Mike jumped in. Jack, maybe you should talk to someone. This obsession with Derek isn't healthy. Obsession? I looked around the table at faces that used to be friendly. You guys have known me for 20 years. You've known him for 20 minutes. And you're taking his side? We're not taking sides, Tony said. We're just saying maybe you need to chill out. Derek leaned back in his chair, savoring the moment. Jack, I know this is hard for you. Change always is. But Sarah's growing as a person, expanding her horizons. Maybe instead of trying to hold her back, you should support her. Something snapped inside me. 20 years of friendship, 15 years of marriage, a lifetime of building relationships in this town, and this trust fund parasite had destroyed it all in a few months. You want to know what Derek's real story is? I said loudly enough for the whole bar to hear. His startup wasn't just a failure. He embezzled money from his investors. There's a lawsuit pending in Massachusetts. He's not here to help Sarah. He's here because he's hiding from his creditors. The bar went dead silent. Derek's face went white, then red. That's a serious accusation, Jack, he said carefully. It's a serious crime, Derek. I pulled out my phone and opened the bookmark I'd saved weeks ago. Suffolk County Superior Court, case number 2023 CV 4471. Derek Patterson versus Meridian Capital Partners. They're suing him for fraudulent misrepresentation and breach of fiduciary duty. I'd found the court documents online after some digging. Derek had been hiding the lawsuit from everyone, including Sarah. Derek stood up slowly. You've been stalking me online, digging into my private business? Your private business became my business when you started trying to steal my wife and my money. I'm trying to help Sarah see her potential, something you've never been able to do. That's when Mike stood up too. Okay, both of you need to calm down. No, I said, my voice rising. I'm tired of calming down. I'm tired of being the reasonable one while this con artist destroys my life. You want to know why Derek's really here? Ask him about the restraining order his business partner took out against him. Ask him about the missing $50,000 from the company account. Derek's mask finally slipped. You don't know what you're talking about. I know exactly what I'm talking about. I hired a private investigator, Derek. I know about the gambling debts in Boston. I know about the cocaine possession charge that got pleaded down. I know about the 3 different women you were stringing along while your company was collapsing. The bar erupted. Derek lunged at me, but I was ready. All those years of boxing training kicked in. I sidestepped his wild swing and caught him with a clean right hook to the solar plexus. He doubled over, gasping. You crazy bastard, Tony shouted, moving toward me. Stay back, Tony. This is between me and Derek. But Mike was already calling the police. The spell Derek had cast was broken, but it was too late for me. I'd become the villain in their story. Derek straightened up, wheezing. You're finished in this town, Jack. Nobody will do business with a psycho. Maybe he was right, but I wasn't done yet. The next morning, I put my plan into action. If Derek wanted to play dirty, I'd show him what dirty really looked like. I started with Sarah. I'd been gathering evidence for weeks, screenshots of Derek's social media posts about his investment opportunities, copies of the court documents, records of his debts. I compiled it all into a neat folder and left it on the kitchen table with a note. This is who you're trusting with our future. Then I visited Derek's parents. They were good people who'd been fooled by their son's lies. I showed them the same documents, explained what Derek was really doing in town. He's not here to start over, I told them. He's here to hide, and he's using Sarah to do it. Derek's father, a retired teacher who'd always been fair with me, studied the papers with growing horror. I had no idea. He told us the business just didn't work out. He's been lying to everyone, Mr. Patterson, including Sarah. Next, I went to the bank where Sarah and I had our accounts. I couldn't stop her from accessing our joint savings, but I could make sure she knew the consequences. I moved most of our money to a separate account and left her a cashier's check for exactly half of our savings, along with another note. If you want to invest in Derek's schemes, use your own money. But my masterpiece was yet to come. Derek had been bragging around town about a big real estate deal he was putting together. He'd been using Sarah's connections to set up meetings with local investors, promising huge returns on a development project in Portland. I knew it was a scam, the same kind of scheme that had destroyed his startup. So I called every single potential investor and sent them the court documents. I called the Portland development company Derek claimed to represent. Turns out they'd never heard of him. By Wednesday, Derek's house of cards was collapsing. His parents confronted him about the lawsuit. His potential investors started asking hard questions. The poker game moved back to Mike's house without him. Thursday evening, Derek showed up at my house. Sarah was at her sister's place, probably planning their next move against me. You son of a bitch, he said when I opened the door. You've destroyed everything. I've exposed everything. There's a difference. Sarah's filing for divorce because of you. She thinks I'm some kind of criminal. You are some kind of criminal, Derek. The only difference is now she knows it. He was shaking with rage. I could have made her happy. I could have given her the life she deserved. With stolen money? With lies? That's not a life, Derek. That's a con game. At least I had ambition. At least I tried to build something bigger than this pathetic small-town existence. You tried to build something with other people's money, and when that failed, you tried to steal from your own family. Derek stepped closer, his fists clenched. You think you've won? You've lost your wife, your friends, your reputation. Everyone in town thinks you're a paranoid psycho. Maybe, but at least they know what you are now, too. That's when Derek made his final mistake. He took a swing at me, right there on my front porch. But this time, I was ready with more than just boxing skills. I'd set up a security camera the week before, positioned perfectly to capture anyone approaching my front door. Derek's assault was recorded in high-definition video. I dodged his punch and grabbed his wrist, using his own momentum to slam him against the porch railing. "That's assault, Derek, and it's all on camera." His eyes widened as he noticed the small device mounted under the eaves. "Here's what's going to happen," I said, keeping my voice calm and clear for the recording. "You're going to leave town. Tonight. You're going to stop contacting Sarah, stop spreading lies about me, and disappear back to whatever hole you crawled out of. You can't make me do anything. Actually, I can. See, I've been in touch with your creditors in Boston. They're very interested to know where you've been hiding. I also contacted the Massachusetts State Police about that missing $50,000. Turns out they've been looking for you." Derek's face went pale. "You're bluffing." I pulled out my phone and showed him the email thread with Detective Rodriguez from the Boston PD's Financial Crimes Unit. "Detective Rodriguez is very excited to hear from you. Should I give him your current address?" For the first time since he'd returned to Millbrook Falls, Derek looked genuinely scared. "What do you want?" "I want you gone. I want a written confession about everything you've done here. The lies about me, the investment scam, all of it. And I want you to call Sarah and tell her the truth." "And if I do that?" "Then maybe I forget to mention to Detective Rodriguez that you've been running investment scams in New Hampshire." Derek stared at me for a long moment, then slowly nodded. 20 minutes later, Sarah arrived home to find Derek's written confession on our kitchen table, along with a recording of his phone call admitting everything. He'd already packed his car and left town. Sarah read the confession twice before looking up at me. "I'm sorry, Jack. I should have listened to you." "We both made mistakes, Sarah. The question is whether we can fix them." It took months of counseling and honest conversation, but we did fix them. Sarah realized how Derek had manipulated her insecurities about our life, making her feel like she needed more than what we had built together. Mike and Tony apologized too, embarrassed by how easily they'd been fooled. The poker game returned to its regular rotation, and Murphy's Bar felt like home again. Derek never came back to Millbrook Falls. Last I heard, he was facing charges in Boston and working as a car salesman in Florida. Sometimes the best revenge isn't destroying your enemy. It's simply revealing who they really are and letting the truth do the rest.